Welcome back, Principles of Management. How are you? This is Mr. Argueta coming to you week number 3. So here we are. We got a couple of things we want to cover in this video. First and foremost, we'll take a look at what last week looked like. Talk about our discussion, which was really good, by the way. Kudos to everyone for your input in regards to our topics. We'll kind of hash through that. I'll give you my perspective and my ethical leanings, and then we'll talk about this week and what's expected for this week, kind of give you an oversight of what I am looking for in our discussion. And then week number 4, interesting situation, because of course we go on spring break at GNTC. That said, I know we have some people that are not at GNTC, so I'm not sure if you're on spring break, but that said, we will not have any work due. This is next week, by the way. This week, we still have a regular week. Well, next week, we won't have any work due to the following week. So for 1 week, essentially, we pause, and that's all your homework assignments are paused for next week. So this Sunday, you're still expected to complete week 3. And if you email me next week, don't be surprised that I do not email you, because as I've mentioned in my previous videos, I will be in Milan and Switzerland. So most likely will not be emailing anybody back, just heads up. But that said, let's talk about last week. Great conversations. Is it ever okay to lie? So first and foremost, I don't want you to think that I am trying to in any way convince you of anything. You keep doing you, boo. You keep being you. If you feel strongly and your conviction is of that, I honor you and I support that. And I am just giving you another perspective. That's all this is, okay? So not trying in any way try to have you become this lying thing going on. I would definitely want you to take your time and process what we're saying in this conversation. So, all right, so here's how it works out. Some of you have replied, it's never okay to lie. Respect that. Once again, I think that that's great. Honor that. However, in every ethical perspective, there is a challenge to be able to maintain one perspective all the time. There's a fault to these perspectives. They're not easily done. One student in particular brought up a great conversation, a great point that I thought was worthy to share. And let me see if I quickly find it. I might not be able to find it, but if I do, essentially what they mentioned was, let me see, hang in there, guys. I should have had it ready for you. But essentially what she mentions is, oh, here it is. It's Braxton Vaughn. Braxton brings up a great point about lying, and it's wrong, and uses her faith-based belief system to sort of explain it, and then moves on to the second paragraph. You're welcome to read it when you get a chance. And for those of you who are faith-based, you might look into this a little deeper, but there's a story about Rahab, who essentially was Jesus's great-great-great-grandmother, who lied to protect spies that were in her town, essentially, and the local government, if you may, making it simplify here, comes looking and said, is there any spies here that have come in to try to take over our land? And because this land was promised to them from God, and therefore she then lied and said, no, there's no spies here, even though she had hid the spies. In more recent history, if we go to like the Holocaust, put yourself in the position of German nationalists who have hid spies during the Nazi era, hid Jewish individuals during the Nazi era. Famous story of Anne Frank. I was actually in Amsterdam last year and was able to go to and see the Anne Frank Museum, and just the thoughts of, reading the book and hearing about this all my life and being witness of it physically there, thought about, this scenario in particular. Would you lie to save the life of someone? And of course, you have your own opinion. I promise I will share my perspective. I don't believe that lying is a clear-cut picture that people make it out to be. It just depends. It just depends on the condition and the purpose of why I am lying or deceiving someone. I do believe that if I am in a selfish gaining purpose and omitting truth to gain selfish gain, then yeah, maybe I don't believe that lie is a reasonable, justifiable lie. But in the lie like Rahab, to justify the lives of these spies, to preserve the life and the plan of, for simple terms, of God's plan, then Rahab was justified. Not only justified, Rahab was essentially blessed by becoming the lineage of Christ, the Savior of the Christian world. That said, I believe that the people who saved Anne Frank and many people during the Holocaust were blessed in some form because they saved these people. I believe it's important to understand that it's the condition of the heart, not necessarily the topic of lying, in my perspective, in my point of view. I also use scenarios in corporate training when I talk about lying, and I talk about it because it affects you as a manager. You know, if you are in a corporate meeting and someone says, we are going to have to get rid of this person, and you're confronted by that employee comes up to you and says, am I being fired? You know, how would you address that? How would you protect that? And if you said, well, I can't lie, yes, you're going to be fired, and then that person loses control or goes crazy and protects it. Another one of our students in the discussion brought that up, working in the mental health field, how protecting people with not necessarily disclosing all the information sometimes is beneficial and helpful and needed. I also give an example of, like, if someone came to your door, unfortunate. Now I pray and I hope that we're never confronted with these scenarios, but just this exercise is for us to understand the process of how we operate in our mind and why we make those decisions, not necessarily trying to correct or influence or change your process, but giving the understanding of why we reach this position and why we make these decisions. So the concept of someone unfortunately comes to the door and they're going to steal or kill or do something to someone and do harm to someone, and says, is there anyone else in the house? And your children are upstairs and you've told them to hide. Would you be like, well, I am never going to tell a lie. Yes, my children are upstairs to the right on the third bedroom in the closet. Or would you be like, no, I'm the only one here, and persuade them to leave or do whatever harm to you? So also, I mean, considering, all those aspects, like I said, I know, and I'm understanding that it's very difficult, but it's an exercise so we can mentally understand how we would come to these conclusions. I am not suggesting you will ever be in the scenario, and I pray you never are, but I'm trying to get you to operate in a way that what we call in business, you have a game theory. What would happen if I was in this scenario? And although it could change because information is powerful, we change based on it. Another one of our students talked about mentioning this to one of their leaders in their youth group, and they went back and forth. And of course, the more information is provided to you, for example, in the trolley scenario, the more you change your decision, the more we are influenced by information. For example, if I told you the 10 adults, for those of you who said, I think I would kill the 10 adult and save the child. If I told you, well, the 10 adults are all close family members and friends of yours, and the child is, who knows who they are, you might be influenced to make a different decision. And if I reverse that scenario, for those of you who said, I would save the 10 adults and kill the child because it's 10 lives. Well, what if, unfortunately, as someone you really love, would you still kill the child? So it really is a concept that, of course, there is no right or wrong answer. So I don't want you, and I know that as business professionals and individuals, we try to find the right answer. And sometimes there is no right or wrong answer. There is no scenario that exactly is going to be the same every time. And that's what this does. It helps us sort of roadmap game theory. What if the scenario happens? How would I react to it? Sort of going through that journey helps us. Excuse me. That said, this week we talk about a SWOT analysis. So strengths and weaknesses, opportunity and threats. So strengths and weaknesses are internal, are from within our organization. And the opportunities, threats are external, are things that happen externally. Now, I encourage you to go Google what a SWOT analysis looks like. Do not write a SWOT analysis out. That's not the proper form to present a SWOT analysis. It's in the 4 quadrants. So make sure you're using the right format for a SWOT analysis. Don't just list random things. Create a SWOT analysis. This is a tool that's used in business quite often. As a matter of fact, last weekend, I got to speak to a senior class at a high school, and I told them about a SWOT analysis. And I said, create your own personal SWOT analysis of you. What is your strength? What is your weaknesses? And what are the opportunities that exist in this world for you? But what are some of the threats? And in a Gen Z environment, I talked about what are some of the strengths, or what are some of the things that stand out from your generation? And of course, right away, they said technology. We are used to technology. We understand technology. Perfect. So look at that internally and then look externally. What are the opportunities that this world has to offer with technology? And then look at some of the weaknesses. What are some of the weaknesses? And they were quick to point out, well, we're probably not known for our communication skills. Well, that's what we need to focus on and build on, because, externally, we can look at those things like what are some of the threats that exist externally? And we talked about that in the group, and some of the things that came out was the concept of like, everyone is so competitive out there. There's so many different people graduating with the same degrees. There's so many business majors out there. It's not like you're just going to get a piece of paper, walk into a company and say, hey, I got a degree. And they're going to be like, oh my God, we've been waiting for you. You got thousands upon thousands of people graduating with the same degree as you. What makes you stand out? And that's where your strengths come into. So I'm excited to see, but please do not just list and type out strengths and weaknesses. Use the proper format. Be creative. Show me that you are ready to be in this professional world. Don't just type something out, and utilize your resources, but please do not submit a ChatGPT prompt. I will give you a 0. So that's stated. Next week, week 4, it's our spring break. So for spring break, no assignment is due. So for the week of the 31st, so Monday 31st, no folders will open up until the following week, the 7th, the 7th will open up the week 4. So week 7 is week 4, which will be your midterm. And in the midterm, you have no discussion. So keep in mind, you will have no discussion, and that week won't start till April 7th, closing out the following Sunday at 12 o'clock, April 13th. All right. That said, as I mentioned, I will be on vacation as well. I'll take spring break. I'll be in Milan. I'll be in Switzerland, and I'll have very limited access to my email. So if you have something of importance, probably Friday will be the last day to get in contact with me, because I will leave Saturday and I won't be back to the following week. So I will be on spring break as well, and my email will be very limited to it. So that said, it's been nice in Georgia. It's getting warmer. It's getting nicer. I'm enjoying it. What else can I tell you? I'm looking forward for a little break, looking forward to a little vacation. And thank you guys, because the discussions are phenomenal. I'm excited. Once again, my perspective of lying, I'm not trying to convince you of it. I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. I believe it's the reason why you lie, not necessarily the lie itself. All right. That's it, guys. We'll see you next time. Remember, no video next week, or not next week, but week 4, because it was midterm week. Take care, everyone. Bye.